I know you guys are still enjoying lunch, and I'm grateful for that. And in a minute or two, some team members are going to be walking around with a bag to put your garbage in. So in the meantime, if you're finished early, just stick it under your chair, kind of like on the airport, you know, be coming around for your trash. So what I want to do next is actually invite many of our funding partners up in somewhat of a line. I'm going to bring them all up here together, introduce them now, and then hand the mic to each of them to talk to you a little bit. And so in order, and guys, the mark is somewhere in here when you're speaking. You need to be in that area, and it's probably good to use the mic now. So first I want to introduce Michael Spary from AURI, who will talk to us a little bit about their investment into this initiative. And Don Hickman with the Initiative Foundation. So Michael, I know you guys might be eating still, but I'm still going to bring you up here now. So Michael, and then Don. That's good. And then after those folks, I'd like to have Happy Dancing Turtle and High Utilities Group, Lynn Hunt and Bob McLean, please, right after Don Hickman. And then Marten Jennings from the Northwest Area Foundation. Interested and great to hear Marten. And then from the Otto River Foundation, Amy Wyatt's going to be speaking on behalf of that organization. Molly Zins from the University of Minnesota Regional Sustainable Development Partnership. How would you like that on your card? I don't think I love that. So Molly, wherever you are, but she does a great job, so we're happy to have Molly here. And then last in this panel will be Colleen Landcamer, the State Director of USDA Rural Development. So with that, I'm going to hand this mic over to Michael. You get about 3 to 5 minutes and I'll cut you off, okay? There you
go. I'm Michael Spary from AURI, which is the Agricultural Utilization and Research Institute. We're a research institute formed by the state of Minnesota about 25 years ago. And our mission is directed to adding value to Minnesota agricultural commodities. And we do that, we focus essentially in four areas. In the areas of renewable energy, co-product utilization, bio-based products, and food. And this project is tied into that food piece. And we participated with the Sprout project in conjunction with the USDA Rural Development, with the grant application that we had with USDA that was geared towards taking a look at cooperative development. So the original look was what was the best structure for Sprout to take and move forward and combined with that assistance with usability. One of the things I absolutely love about this project is the collaboration efforts. And it's a classic example from literally grassroots digging in the dirt all the way up to the federal government and every potential connection in between. And the other thing I want to touch on is that I've been doing this for over 17 years. I've done hundreds of projects, and the number one key ingredient to any successful project is a champion. And we've got champions with Colette and Arlene, and I think they deserve a huge round of applause.
Don Hickman, Vice President of Community and Economic Development with the Initiative Foundation. First want to establish my credibility to be here. Granddad McKee, Wallace McKee, was a farmer in Iowa. And when I reached the age of troublesome teenager, my father prescribed the cure of walking beans and baling hay for Granddad McKee. I've never figured out the genealogy, but I was also related to Henry Wallace, Franklin Roosevelt's original Secretary of Agriculture. And Wallace was remembered for all kinds of innovation during the Depression to help farmers recover from the Dust Bowl and to feed people in poverty. And I think that's a spirit we need to it's a spirit that has really attracted quite a few funders lately. And global food is a really important thing. And so I started my morning this morning to remind myself that that's not a new trend. While this isn't really poetry, I think it is. This is from Thomas Jefferson. He said, "The earth is given, its common stock, for man to labor and live on. The small landowners are the most precious part of the state. The second quote I would wager most of you are familiar with. There are two spiritual dangers in not owning a farm. One's the danger of supposing that breakfast comes from the grocery, and the other, that heat comes from the furnace. Out of Leopold's Hand County Almanac. Poetry doesn't pay the bills, though, and that's why I'm most excited about this project. Capitalism harnesses self-interest in a very effective way. If we can create jobs here and provide a service the community needs, we're going to have a profound good. Right now, the market's failing. Commodity prices are so great. We've got producers producing in environmentally destructive ways. If we can show that there's an alternative path, maybe not everywhere, but we can make it work here, and what we learn from our mistakes, we'll export and replicate. Then I think this really may be a new path, and we're eager to continue to support it with grants, but my deepest hope is we'll end up lending money, because this will be a vital, growing business.
Thank you. The Happy Dancing Turtle and the Utilities Group. So, resilient living is the purpose of Happy Dancing Turtle and Hub is to learn, teach, practice, and promote resilient living. Resilience is a mindset of hope and optimism. When you are prepared, you don't fear. You know you have or have access to the tools, knowledge, and in this case, food, to make it through whatever life is throwing your direction. It is building your network of friends and family and being able to love your neighbors. It is a belief that when you let the universe know what you want, work with every fiber of your being to get that the universe will fill the rest and let it happen. It is being honest and charitable in all things you do so that you have nothing to hide or fear and live abundantly inside of yourself as well as physically. So what is resilient living? It's a set of tools, habits, lifestyle, and infrastructure that helps you live well during good economic times and bad. It makes you less vulnerable to the whims of nature, climate change, politics, and marketeers. It builds stronger, healthier individual families, individuals, businesses, communities, and ecology by making each of those less vulnerable. And resilience is confidence, based on real skills, knowledge, tools, and goods. Local foods is a major focus in a resilient community. Thank you to Lynn and the farm in St. Matthias and now Minnesota Sprout for driving this effort, creating a resilient community through Local Foods Network, helping both the growers and then all of us who love to eat feel more secure knowing our growers are working at giving us great local foods. And then that's why we're supporting this project, because it is resiliency. It's building resiliency in our communities. One of the things I like to know, my grandfather, he actually used to haul in, when he was a kid, he'd haul in wagon loads of cucumbers to the pickle factory in Pequot Lakes at that time. It was one or the other, yeah. So I think it was Pequot at that point, when he was a little kid. And he remembers doing those things. He's not here with us anymore. I remember riding on the tractor when he was farming his little farm, or his little plot, you know, things like that. So yeah, we've got some farming. I only do a little bit, and at least it's not a house plant, because I can kill those very well.
And collectively, I think a key part when I look at what's happening right here today, in a sense, it's sort of like an epicenter for resilient living. You know, right here on Farm in St. Matthias, you start with a local hub that can really work. And then you look to create, if we do this well, collectively, collaboratively, like Mike was saying, if we do this really well, it starts to create a local hub web, where you have hubs throughout the region. And you look at them expanding beyond that. We've got a 5-county region under Region 5, you know, expanded into the district foundation, 14 county regions. Bring in the tribes and their work. Bring in the larger area. And if we do it well here, and they're doing a marvelous job of giving us an example of how to do it well here, it can be an example of how it can be done, you know, throughout the country. And I think the enthusiasm that we've seen from people around the country, Cheryl and Marten just coming back from Washington, D.C., is a demonstration that people are hungry for and looking for an example of what could really work to live resiliently with local foods. So, thank you.
Hi again, my name is Marten Jennings. I'm a program officer with the Northwest Area Foundation. The Northwest Area Foundation covers 8 states. We go from Minnesota all the way to the West Coast, Washington, Oregon. And our mission is around poverty reduction and building prosperity in communities across our 8 states. If you think about our economy right now, we're probably have the worst economic conditions that we've had. The disparity in wealth, the gap is probably the biggest that it's ever been. And so, you know, recognizing these things and that divide is growing bigger and bigger, it brings an acknowledgement that the systems and the models and the approaches that have traditionally been looked at to create this new economy just aren't working. And so I am here today to support something that really is kind of close to the values that we have at the foundation, and to myself personally. It takes on things that builds community. And so, I mean, if I look across the room here, you know, there's students, there's businesses, there's government agencies. I mean, what do we all have in common? We all have to eat. You know, we'd all like to be able to eat good, nutritious food so that we can, you know, be good human beings. And yet, all of us in this region, we don't have that opportunity, so there's this food insecurity. And we think about how can we do things differently, not maybe innovatively, not maybe something cutting edge, but something as simple as bringing people together to work to rebuild and instill that sense of community, to work with one another to build a strong, resilient community. And we look at food hubs as one of these sectors that has great potential. And you know, part of why we invested in this particular project is because it's got a lot of those key elements already. I mean, the collaboration that you see here, is some of the best that I've seen. You know, you've got established networks, you've got some very motivated, passionate leaders behind this, you've got some data to support the feasibility of it, and you've got some history of progress. And so those are all key things, but really, you know, at the end of the day, you know, people in this community, you're the ones that are going to make or break this thing. And as individuals, we all have control over the decisions that we make. And I think part of what I like here in this project is that individuals, through your own decisions, whether you're growers, whether you're consumers, you all have an opportunity to support something that's really bringing and keeping wealth in this community. It's recirculating values and dollars here. And I just want to, you know, we just played a small part in this, and we're honored to be a part of it. And you know, really hope that this really does a lot of things and brings some change to the community. So thank you.